Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Mike in the building. Swish for real. I got my co-host with me, Boogie. Boogie, you gave me some fascinating news, man, and I think the audience needs to hear it. It's our fourth year podiversary, man. We are getting it in year four. Swish for real. Boogie, man, how you living, man? How's things on your side of the planet, man?
I'm doing good. I'm not an early morning person, but I last 3 days I've got up early so I could mow the lawn and do some yard work before it got too hot. And when I say early, I'm saying like 6:15, 6:30. The sun hadn't fully come up yet, get my coffee. So by the time I wake up, it's about 7:30, 8.
Oh, nice. So you are early. Well, I'm an early bird too, because I like to get up
Well,
around
I'm
about.
I'm usually a night owl, but I don't
Hey,
I don't particularly like. Unless you do it late evening, even though the temperature's up there, it seems to be cooler as the sun sets. But yeah, I don't like doing it from noon to 4. Like, no bueno.
yeah, no doubt. I usually get up. My wake up time is right around 4:45 during the weekdays. On the weekends, I try to sleep in as much as possible. And it is the weekend. So it's Friday. We record on Fridays, post on Saturdays. So you're seeing this, we're having a great one, man. Thinking about some great things, man. Luka Doncic, man, his whole roster has been shaken up a little bit, man. And I know there's been a lot of talk, and Stephen A. Smith said some crazy stuff about them having a almost all white roster, which I mean I have no problem
Yeah.
with. and
And
and the going nickname for him
he's
is
taking the
Young
heat for
Time
that
Lakers.
comment too.
Huh?
Stephen A. Smith's been taking the heat for that comment.
Yeah, but he's not gonna back down because that's who he is. He's a LeVar Ball of ESPN, if you understand that lingo. But what are your thoughts on them in that roster? And can they? I mean, the defense. I don't know. Wesley Kessler, right? He's on there, and quite a
Walter,
few guys are getting there.
Walter Kessler.
Yeah, and what are you gonna do? You think Luca's gonna? I don't know. I think Luca likes the fact that he got his boy Austin Reeves to stay, but adding these other additions, will that even improve the roster a bit, or what are they looking like? Will they be in a playoff hunt, or will they just kind of sink and fall fast?
So I'm gonna call them the slow time fakers. Fakers. Uh, they gave up all their draft capital. We talked previously on the podcast how many first round picks the Mavericks spent.
Mhm.
I think it was 7 just to surround Luka, but they got a couple second round picks back for DeAndre Ayton. They're
Mhm.
trying to get Kevin Looney signed, but they gave up 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 pick swaps. They basically every tradable first they had, they traded for Kessler. And you don't have Jackson Hayes, you don't have Rudy Hachimura, you don't have Marcus Smart. You got
LeBron.
you got to have that perimeter defender. I know Marcus Smart's getting older. I think he signed with Houston. Uh, so they gave up a lot of draft capital. Will it be a better fit? Time will tell. One of the things I wrote down immediately was too slow, too slow. Luca likes to go too small. Like too slow. They don't. I mean, those long outlet passes he was throwing to LeBron and Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura, the outside gunner, and uh, that they brought in Grimes, which now when you think about it, it actually. You and I have neither one of us like that trade Nico made right after the Luka.
Yeah,
I mean
that hurt my feelings.
that boy's a dog. But
I
now
love Grimes.
now we know why Nico traded him because he brought him in as a Luka favorite, And so, you know, now that Grimes is going to join Luka again, think on the mid-level exemption. Uh, Nico's like, well, I got rid of Luka. I'm going to get rid of all the players he demanded to be here. So
Mm,
uh, even with Kessler, I wrote down not enough defense.
yeah.
Who's your on the ball defender? It ain't going.
Vanderbilt.
It's not going to be Reeves. And it's not going to be Luka. And who's your backup point guard when Luka is on the floor?
Sexton, right? Colin Sexton.
Yeah, but he's kind of what we used to call Gilbert Arenas. He's
Mm.
a zero guard, we called it back then. Now they call him combo guard, which
And
just
then you can put Jaden Hardy on point guard in positions.
yeah, but they got him listed as small forward.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So you and I, we both loved uh, uh, Grimes, and
And
then
Hardy. Yeah,
uh,
and Hardy, yeah.
and Hardy Party, but he's hot and cold, you know, light it up or you know can't hit the broadside of a barn.
And they
Uh,
only have really one guard. You got Bronny James still there. I don't know if they're going to move him or not. It depends on where his dad lands. But you, the only point guard is Luka at this juncture.
What Bronny James? I read somewhere where he was going to opt out of his player
Okay,
option.
player option. Mm,
So I think he's just going to go wherever his dad goes.
yeah, it makes sense. 'Cause I think they're going to try to cut him anyway.
But I mean, if they're starting five, basically you have Austin Reeves returning, and that's it. They it any team with Luka with any kind of talent, I can see them getting the 50 wins. They maxed out really at 52 when he was with the Mavericks. Uh, but he's one hamstring away, and they're under 500.
Yeah, I think it's more so his calf muscle that's been bothering him all throughout his career.
Calf and hamstring, and it's the one that he plants the foot on when he does his step back.
Mm,
He does have the largest step, like most NBA players step back, they measured around 4.5 feet. James Harden is like a little over 6 feet. Luca's step back three is over 8 feet.
dang.
So that's why it is very hard to block unless you're behind him. But that's also probably why he has so much leg trouble, because the snatch back and pull back 8 feet, you're putting a lot of stress on those joints.
Mm.
I I don't think they'll be a top four team. I really don't.
Now, so you have him in the top 10. Well, you have to be in the top 8 to make the playoffs, and the play-in's the top 10. So, where do you have him? Like, if you had to put him in the ranking for the next season,
Somewhere somewhere between 6 and 10.
6 and 10. Yeah. With just Luca being the primary offensive threat, that will get them to that maybe 6 to 10 spot.
Yeah. Even the LA odds have come out. They got them at like uh over unders like 46.5 wins.
That's gonna be a tough call, man, because I don't know what they're gonna do with what they have with that roster because they don't have a true backup point guard. And I think, like you said, losing Marcus Smart is gonna be a big downfall for that team when you gotta rest Luca. Who do you bring in?
Yeah, and Smart, not only backup point guard, but he was a good on ball defender, and he had pretty high basketball IQ. He knew where to get people. So it made Jackson Hayes and Rod,
Rui Hachimura.
Hachimura made them both look pretty decent, and some of the other guys. Jared Vanderbilt looked good. These were Vanderbilt was a spare from Utah, and Hachimura was a spare from Washington. You know, so if they had it, I think when they traded DeAndre Ayton to Memphis, they got like 2 or 3 second-round picks.
Mm.
I I think I'd pick up the phone and say, "Hey, we'll give you Caleb Martin for those second-round picks."
Nah, real talk. Nah, real talk. So they're gonna end up 6 or 10 coming up in the 26-27 season. So will this be the end of the Luka era in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform?
Is this the first year of his extension? I think he's a unrestricted free agent in 2028,
Mm.
the 10th year, 10 years. I think it's a 3-year contract, if I remember right, and the third year is like a player option. So
What is what is his window
basically,
for a championship?
basically, in 2 years, he can go wherever he wants.
Yeah. What is his window now as a Laker for his championship goes? You think it's now it's gonna be much harder?
2 years.
Gotcha. And that's just based off of his health, right?
Was based on his contract and his age. He'll be
Yeah.
30. He'll be 30 at that time, and he will have been playing pro for not in the NBA, but if you add Europe to his NBA, he will have been playing pro for 14 years.
Mm,
Started playing pro at 16. So there's a lot of tread on those tires have already been used.
yeah. I hate that for him, man, because if it weren't for Nico, he'd still be in Dallas, and we would probably had a killer roster, man. Kyrie probably would have never got hurt because he would have had more of a personnel to lean on as far as Luka go, and that team would have been amazing. We probably would have made the Western Conference Finals again with Clay playing healthy. There's no way in the world we could not have made the Western Conference Final.
And if they if the Lakers had kept LeBron, maybe Luka might have learned something about how to keep his body. He was on the cover of the magazine, all that. Look, I got in shape and lost some pounds. But the guy's he's never going to be ripped. He can look thinner, but he's got the Pillsbury Doughboy body. He just is like there's some people that it don't matter how much you pump weight and all that, you're not going to look like Adonis, or Hulkamania. He's when he lost that weight, he lost some of his he gained a little bit of speed, but he lost some of the ability that made him good, which was he basically LeBron size as a point guard. It's like you ain't gonna be able to bump him wherever you want to go. It-
Yeah.
he absorbs a lot of contact, and so I
Mm,
mean he's high as we've said before, especially after the trade. He's highlight. He's a highlight reel. Probably the one of the best scorers in the league. Uh, and so it's just I don't know how they're almost in the same position as Miami as far as resources to come up with more people to help him.
yeah. Yeah. Speaking of people that need help, Brad Stevens, I believe, for Boston traded Jalen Brown and he went to Philly. I mean, I can see the financials on that when I looked it up, and I think that's probably part of the reason why they traded him. But for the most part, that dude's pretty much he showed you last year he was a superstar. What are your thoughts on them trading Jalen Brown and can they do something with Paul George as far as Boston goes? Because Paul George would be what 36 this year or something like that.
Something
So
like that. And
yeah, so I
he's
don't
been
understand why
traded
they
three
trade him.
times. They had a stat. The teams he was traded away from won championships or something like that.
Mm,
And look at the draft capital plus SGA they gave up to Oklahoma City to get Paul George.
hmm
You know, so they emptied their pocketbooks and their draft capital to get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And what was the highest? The highlight of the Clippers was beating the Mavericks in the bubble, and then the next year beating them in the first round. But I don't remember them. What they may have played in one Western Conference final. I don't, but they were never really a threat to win a championship really in the West. So I mean, Paul George still fill it up, but he's on that downhill curve. But Jalen Brown, I call it Nico was Nico, or maybe it was the governor, Patrick
Mm.
DeMont, called him the Luka killer. He saw in the finals how Brown just shut Luka down and made it so hard for him. He
Yeah.
averaged 28, so I don't know, somewhere around 28. I don't know if you can call that shutting him down, but it was a very difficult 28, and Kyrie didn't show up for a couple games. So, uh, but Brown got a lot of the credit from the owner, and I think that's why he let Nico trade Luka. So, there's always that one guy that's got that's got
Got
your
your number.
got your number. And I I understand. I mean, they cut a lot of payroll after they won the championship because they had all those contracts with Porzingis coming due, and Al Horford, and Drew Holiday. So they got Tatum and White, and Pritchett still left.
Yeah.
Some young guys and some draft capital. So by the time they get some pieces around Tatum, Tatum's going to be in his mid-30s. But I think what they were looking at more so than this year was, uh, because Brown was drafted the year before, his extension eligible came due this year.
Yeah, because he's right now he's 140 million, right? Eligible for that.
Yeah, his extension was going to be north of 300
Mm.
for 4 years. It was going to be nor it was more than 80 million a year.
And then he does his own negotiations, man. Because I think what a lot of people were saying is that they don't like when a player has so much influence on their own negotiations. He's sitting in the boardroom with them. They rather deal with agents than deal with the players, which I think Jalen Brown, he's one of those guys that he's kind of like Ray Allen. Ray Allen did the same thing when he was in the league. He negotiated all his contracts. So I think that's the where Jalen Brown got that page from is from Ray Allen.
Yeah, I like players being their own advocate.
Yeah, you
They're
cut the
paying the
middleman out.
middleman. They're not paying the middleman. It's kind of like the real estate agent. They're not really working for the homeowner. They're working for the sales commission. A real estate agent doesn't care if you get max price. They just want to get the sale. And an agent just wants to get his commission. So, you know, Brown is not paying that 10% uh, for an agent. Plus, you got in baseball, it's not as uncommon for a player to be their own agent. But I applaud him. But that extension that's coming due, and the new owners not wanting to have to pay because when you're in they call it the repeater tax.
Hmm.
Or you're in it past the second apron, you're paying the luxury tax. After so many years, you pay an even bigger tax, repeater tax.
Mm.
So I think I saw the number where had they kept Brown, that would have kept them in the second apron, and the repeater tax would have put their total payroll at like $1 billion.
Damn.
Even though the player salaries half that, the repeater tax was, almost, I don't know the percentage, but it was up there. So between Tatum and Brown, they were taking up 70% of their salary cap. Uh, so I can understand that. He's 30 years old. Uh, he'd probably start to decline in a couple of years when that extension would kick in. And Boston got a chance. It's kind of a Danny Ainge move in a way. You remember when Garnett and Paul Pierce and uh, Ray Allen, wasn't it Ray Allen, the third guy, that they run the ring, and then they came back the next year and got beat, and they traded to Brooklyn. They traded Garnett and Terry and Pierce.
Hmm.
They weren't done, but they had, and they were going to have a good couple years left. But you, they had already got the maximum, kind of like trading a car that ain't quite ready for the junkyard, but its best mileage has already been used.
Hmm.
So Brown being 30, and you're going to have to sign him to a contract extension that was going to be 70, 80 million a year. Uh, by the time it kicked in, so you're banking on the fact that at 32 years of age, he's going to be able to maintain that for another 4 years, and that even though players last longer, guards especially around 32, 33, they start to tailor. There's very few. Harden has been able to maintain it. Steve Nash was able to maintain it, but Jamal Crawford was able to maintain it. But for the most part, guys with that kind of usage, they start tapering off around mid-30s. I think that had a lot to do with it, and the fact that they could replenish draft capital. What they get, like 4 picks or two first round picks and pick swaps from Philly, something like
I'm not probably somewhere south of that maybe. Now,
yeah.
well, speaking of Philly, do you think that them adding Brown to that roster will they make the Eastern Conference Final? Because I mean, you still have Joel Embiid there as one of your centerpieces, and you got Maxey and you got Edgecombe, so you got a squad. That's a man. Just imagine, even if they didn't have Embiid on that squad, it's still a dangerous squad. Can they make the Eastern Conference Finals with what they have currently?
Well, you hit the right on the nose. Embiid's health. And I didn't look up his age, but when they started talking about the process, that was several years ago. So, uh, yeah, Embiid. That's one of those. If they could get, I think they signed Drummond or some other center.
Yeah, Drummond.
If 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 they just get it through the regular season and have him healthy for the playoffs, I think you got Embiid, Paul George, and that threesome of Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown.
Dang. Yeah.
I mean that threesome right there is going to win you 50% of your games.
So
Uh,
that's four, but then yeah, they gotta have a nice center because if you're gonna have to play Embiid at power forward, you're gonna play Brown at small forward, and you got your guard and your shooting guard. So yeah, that's a nice squad. I don't see how they could lose.
yeah, I mean they're going to win their fair share. Remember the Knicks knocked them out of the playoffs uh, pretty easily. Like I think they swept them. There's only Atlanta that only beat them. You know, uh, and the Knicks only player the Knicks lost was Mitchell Robinson, and he's kind of I put him in that category of Porzingis. He's great when he plays,
Are you
but
talking about Embiid?
no, I'm talking about Mitchell Robinson.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's great when he plays, and yeah, he's great defensively. But like street clothes and like Porzingis, it's like you're going to get a dozen great games out of him, but like the Maserati in the shop, it's great when it's working, but it's in the shop more than when it's on the road.
True.
So Mitchell Robinson, I think Boston signing him away from the Knicks helps them, but I just the Knicks just they showed you that between Hart, Bridges, Brunson, uh, that they got a formidable perimeter defense. You know,
Yeah. OG Ananobi.
and then you got Anobi, and you got Towns who can play a little bit of defense.
Now
You know,
he showed up. I was
but
surprised how well he played.
you got to give Coach Mike Brown credit. He
Yeah.
started using him like Nikola Jokic at Denver. He put him up there at the elbow high, and they ran the offense through him, but he didn't necessarily have to drive to the bucket or shoot the 3-pointer. But he was kind of the hub and the spoke that allowed those other guys to really flourish.
Yeah. Man, that I I don't even want to talk about it, but San Antonio had three chances to really close them out, and they did not do it. They had four games where they were up double digits.
They were up double digits in every game, and they were up double digits in the first quarter of every game. Uh, Four of those games were decided in the last 2 minutes, and two of them were decided by the last possession. That's just experience.
Yeah,
That's you know not just player experience. It's kind of I kind of like what Mitch Johnson's doing there in San Antonio. Uh, but you got to believe if Popovich is the coach there instead of Johnson, Mike Brown kind of took advantage of that, kind of like Pat Riley took advantage of Avery Johnson.
yeah, you know them too well. Um, Speaking of knowing some people too well, do you think Miami will get to know Giannis pretty well? That he moved there, and I'm surprised he. Well, everybody was predicting he may go to Miami, and he went. What are your thoughts on him moving to Miami? And I mean, I don't know if you heard the news, but and this just happened earlier today. Bam out of bio and what's that kid named Hero? Tyler Hero got into a fist fight in Las Vegas today. So you Giannis coming in hearing that, what do you think will be on his mind? Can we gel together? Can we keep Tyler Hero? What about you know the squad itself? Will that damper his thoughts on everything?
Isn't that kind of like when KD and Draymond Green got in it, and then the next year they're like, oh, everything's okay, and then KD gets injured, and then he's out of there the next year. You know, I mean, you can go back to Latrell Sprewell when he punched PJ Carlesimo,
Choked him, didn't he?
choked him. So, uh, who knows what's going on there? Uh, I Giannis to me, he's the same player as when he came into the league.
Well, now he's a little better. When he first came in the league, he was so scrawny and little,
He's
and but he
yeah,
he worked himself to
real
there.
athletic. I mean, his game, his body's matured, but his game hasn't. He doesn't have a pull up. He doesn't have a mid range. He don't have a 3-pointer. It's like I'm going to the hole all the time and just stop me. I dare you to stop me. I'm gonna run straight at the rim, and if you want to get knocked down, go ahead. Uh, I mean, that's the way I see him. I, I mean, he's beautiful to watch, but there's flaws in his offensive game to me. And you trade away the point guard. You trade away the point guard. They signed the flamethrower, as we used to call him when he was in Dallas, Tim Hardaway Jr.,
Hmm.
who finally got permission to wear his dad's number 10,
Mm.
retired number 10 jersey as a Miami Heat. So you got THJ down there. I mean, they're going to sign some older veterans. Uh, Pat Riley will work his magic and get those guys in there. But I just it, they're going to struggle with depth. They
Yeah,
make a decent starting five. Uh,
because they didn't they get Andrew Wiggins as well.
One of the Wiggins, I don't remember which.
Andrew Wiggins.
Uh, I think depending on the matchup, they might get to the second round.
Hmm.
Otherwise, otherwise, I think they're more inclined to be a first round exit.
Hmm.
They also gave up a lot of draft capital. I didn't give all of it up. So it this isn't I don't think this is the year. I think probably next year or the following year will be their year.
Where would Giannis would have fit better? I think Golden State would probably been a better fit for him.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of ball movement. Honestly, I think he would have fit with the Nuggets. He,
Who would you
he
trade for him out
Maybe
the
take
Nuggets
Aaron
squad?
Gordon out of there and
Yeah.
maybe throw in Cam Johnson. Uh, but with Jokic being able to drop a dime on him and Jamal Murray there, I mean, who you going to guard? You can't you can't do the Nick Nurse and build a wall and say, okay, you're going to have to go around four players to get to the rim. That's how Toronto beat them on the way to the ring. Uh, but I could see you with Jamal Murray, him and Jokic. That's the kind of squad you would see where he could flourish. He could play off the ball defense while Joker holds down the middle. And if Joker has the ball, he's gonna get a triple double. Probably even get a triple double easier with Giannis be able to get to the hole so easily.
Yeah.
You can even run a pick and roll between Murray and Giannis, but it's gonna be interesting. Adebayo's gonna want the ball. Giannis is gonna want the ball. So you got two ball dominant guys that aren't point guards.
And they both play almost a similar position anyway.
Yeah, and they
So I don't
traded
see. Yeah.
away. I saw this guy at Hoop Fest here in Dallas, Khalil Ware, their young center. I could tell even in high school, like even Byron said, yeah, he's got potential. And next thing you know, he get drafted, and he was starting some games for Miami last year.
Yeah, they had to give up the future for win now.
So they're going to struggle with depth and no true point guard. Uh, Limited outside shooting other than Tim Hardaway Jr.
And Tyler Hero, right?
Didn't they trade Hero in that trade to get Giannis? I thought Hero was part of the trade.
I'd have to double check, but I thought he was still on the roster, but you might be correct. Because let me double check that real quick. But yeah, I think with what they have now, as far as Miami, they shouldn't be bad as a team. What do you have them falling into as far as the win percentage? Will they be 6 or 7? Where are they going to fall at?
Yeah, they'll be on the cusp. Since Jimmy Butler and Jimmy that they were a play-in team when Jimmy Butler took them to the finals.
Hmm.
They they've been in the play-in side, 7, 8, 9, or 10 for like 3 years, 4 years in a row. I could see them climbing up to sixth, fifth. Remember, the Pacers get back. They got a center to replace when they traded. They got Ivanka Zubac, and then they got the draft pick where they took was it Keaton Wagler, I think it was, and that who the Pacers drafted. You got Halliburton coming back.
Yeah, pace is gonna be tough. And yeah, you're correct though. They traded Halliburton to Milwaukee, so he's a Milwaukee Buck. And I still wonder why him and Bam had that fight in Vegas. What was the cause of that? I wonder, but I guess only those who were there probably knew what happened.
Well, you think of all the guys that have one-hit wonders, I call them. Caleb Martin had his best year in Miami and gets traded, gets a big contract. Duncan Robinson, another one. He was on Detroit. He had a great year, two-way player. Tyler Hero, I'm not sure, but they always come up with these guys from the G League, two-way contract. Next thing you know, they're starting and they're hitting kind of like the John Poulikitis that the Mavericks have on a two-way. The
Paulikitis,
shooter.
yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah, but that's the
But
kind of
they
guy
now Dallas is overloaded with shooters now.
that's the kind of guy that Riley goes and gets, and they just other teams ignore, and he surrounds his team with a bunch of minimum salary rookie contract guys. It's my friend put it this way: it's kind of like you get a franchise quarterback in the NFL, you got to make sure you surround them when they're on their rookie contract, because once the quarterback signs after he gets past that fifth year and signs a contract, there's no more room to get your stars. So
Mm.
the NBA is kind of getting like that, to where you've got to get a bunch of guys that outperform the contract, whether it's a minimum or mid-level exemption or uh,
Kind of like what they did in Oklahoma.
yeah. But the advantage Oklahoma City has is they got 20 some odd first round picks. So when those players are due for their second contract, they're like, we love you. Thank you for contributing. We got another guy coming in and smaller salary.
Yeah. And I mean, because these salaries are now absorbently massive, like an albatross. And it's how can you afford that? Like we mentioned, $1 billion would have been what Boston would have had to pay if they would have kept Brown. So these contracts are way crazy. And I'm kind of surprised Miami got what they got for Giannis.
The rookie wage scale is up there. I mean, I think Cooper was like 18 million or something against cap last year as a rookie. It used to be like 1, 2, 3 million. So the rookies are getting paid. The high drafted rookies are getting paid pretty handsome. Right
And
there
this may be for another podcast, but I think NIL money has a lot to do with these
in
rookie
NIL
contracts
because
too.
they can stay in college and make 1 million or two, or like that one quarterback at like Texas or Texas Tech or something, like 6 million in NIL. It's going to be more
Mm,
than you would make in the NFL. Uh,
that's very true.
but I think I remember last year when the Mavs drafted Cooper Flag that he has the potential to be the first $1 billion player. Because they forecasted the salary cap in his rookie contract. So he gets 2 extensions plus his rookie contract that puts him over $1 billion.
That's crazy. Speaking of $1 billion, this guy probably put $1 billion into his physique, his health, and all this stuff. LeBron James, he he opted out of his contract with the Lakers, and now the decision hasn't been made. And I don't know if he's going to do that again, what he did in Miami, when he went to Miami, rather, to make it a public statement, have a newscast, and get the decision done. Speaking of, we talked about Bronny being in LA and hasn't really re-signed yet. Now, if LeBron signed somewhere, what would be the most likely spot that you think he would go?
So I said a year ago about this same time, and I had the season wrong. I thought I said 23rd season, let it be his 24th. But I predicted a year ago that he would return to Cleveland. And you look at what Cleveland's got, it gives him a chance at a ring. More
Yeah,
importantly, it gives him a bookend to his career. It's a fairy tale ending.
hometown hero, basically.
Hometown hero comes back to help you try to win another ring. And don't forget, Harden turned down his extension so that they could get LeBron, and he hadn't re-signed yet. But you got Harden there and Evan
Mitchell,
Mobley.
Evan Moe, Jared Allen, Max Strus, Dennis Schroeder. You got a squad.
Yeah, and I mean, LeBron knows how to take games off or plays off to rest himself and be ready in playoffs. Well, what is he, 41, 42, something like that? And
40, I'm about to be 42.
he averaged like 26 points and 8 rebounds and 6 assists in the playoffs. I'm like, who does that at that
At
age?
that age, yeah. Let me ask you this question though. Who would I mean would he be part of the starting lineup? Because you Harden, Donovan, Evan, Jared Allen, Max Spruce, who would sit on the bench? Max?
Oh, Strus would come off the bench. You put LeBron at small forward or power forward, and
Because you got, I mean, because Evan and Jared, they got them both listed as centers. So one of them had to be a power forward because you can't have both of them off the court at the
power
same time.
forward. That the thing is if you put LeBron in either one of those two positions, the other two guys can. It opens up the floor for them because gravity. You can't leave LeBron uncovered, especially over the last 4, 5 years. LeBron's really improved his 3-point shooting,
Yeah.
and you've seen it the last couple of years. He loves that corner three now.
I think a lot of NBA players love that corner three.
Yeah, LeBron didn't used to take that. He used to take it at the peak of the arc or at the top of the arc. He used to take pull ups, kind of like Jet did. But I just think he draws so much gravity that with Harden being able to handle the ball, I mean, you got two interchangeable players that basically play the same. Uh, he's just, you start him just like you start Dirk in his last year. Everybody gives him his flowers as he rides off into the sunset.
So if it's not Cleveland, what other landing spot would he go?
Depends how smooth talking Pat Riley does with him. If he isn't a concern, you could see him go back to Miami.
Now, I don't know if you mentioned it or someone else mentioned it, but someone said he might look good as a Mav, and I almost hung myself like, no.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But if you add him to the Nuggets, team like that, it's gonna have to be not gonna be a young team. It's gonna be a somewhat veteran team.
Hmm.
Cleveland's about the youngest team that I can see him joining. It's gonna be a team that's got veterans around them that they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, so do you think this is his last year? He's gonna retire?
I think I, I last year I would have said yeah, but I think he's going to play 2 more years.
Yeah. So he'll play until he's 43?
Unless he has a serious injury, I think so.
Yeah, yeah, he keeps himself in such impeccable shape. I don't know how he would have an injury. It's very rare that you see him with an injury. Only that time he had that, I don't know if it was his calf or something in the playoffs that he was suffering with, but he came back the very next game and he played very well. But I don't know. I don't think he's ever gonna slow down at his age. Not
Well,
too much.
you saw this even with Luka throwing outlet passes. Is LeBron's game has evolved kind of with his age. So that's why he hasn't arced and then just fallen off the mat. Is he's continually improved parts of his game and adapted his game to fit what he can't, you know. But I remember that one pass that was highlight reel. Luka threw it from basically the baseline right under the hoop to a sprinting LeBron. He catches it in stride and goes up for a dunk. I mean, he can still dunk like crazy.
Yeah, he's 6'8", so he better dunk at 6'8".
Yeah, but 40 something at 6'8", it's a little harder to get up.
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
But he spends like $1 million a year on his body.
Yeah, yeah. And I, like you mentioned earlier, if he would have stayed in LA, he would have kind of showed Luca how to navigate those fields when taking care of your body health wise. But I think him going to Cleveland is probably the consensus saying that that may be his landing spot. And it kind of reminds me of when he came back to Cleveland the first time and Kyrie was there. But now you have Donovan Mitchell. It's a possibility they could go through the East and beat maybe New York.
Yeah, and you realize that was 10 years ago.
Wow.
It was 2016 when he went back to Cleveland and took them to 4 straight finals.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, he's uh the the there's not going to be he's kind of the as far as records go, he's kind of the Emmett Smith of the NBA.
Yeah.
It just look how long Kareem's record stood, and Kareem played till he's like 42.
Yeah.
So it it's going to take longevity, health, and a pretty healthy scoring average to ever catch him scoring. But he's, I think we looked it up as far as top 10 in rebounds and was up there like fifth or sixth in uh, steals, and he's up there in assists.
Yeah.
So,
He has a lot of records for what he's done for the league. So
well,
LeBron is one of
minutes
those
played,
people.
he the next playoff game. I think I've got this number right. The next playoff game is either 1,000 or 2,000. I think it's 1,000. Will be his 1,000th playoff game. His next playoff game. So you think about it, an 82 game season, his playoff games is an extra 10 seasons.
Man, he is a phenomenon, especially a kid that coming straight out of high school, just like Kobe did. So I don't know how he's gonna really end
He
his career, but
he's the Tom
hopefully he
Brady.
does
He's
it.
the Tom Brady of the NBA. That's what I was trying to think of earlier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then
They don't hold him in the same regard. Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls, won 7, and everybody puts him way up here. LeBron went to 10 NBA Finals and won 4, and they put him down here.
Statistically, he's better than Michael Jordan, but that's only because Michael Jordan didn't play as many as games as LeBron did. Just imagine if he didn't take 2 years off to kind of console himself with the passing of his father. He probably would have been untouchable when it comes to who has the most points as an NBA player.
Yeah, the I I got to see Michael from when he entered the league because I just graduated college till the end of his career. He made more money in endorsements than he did in his NBA salary.
And Michael Jordan,
Yeah. One,
yeah,
in fact, he still leads Nike in shoe sales, and he's in
yeah, the Jordan brand.
the Jordan brand. Uh, so, but I remember him. He signed some contract, and it was like I don't remember how many years, like 40 or 50 million at the time. But his Nike contract was 60 million a year.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's an icon, so I don't think LeBron is an icon for this particular generation of kids that kind of grew up watching him. They don't know anything of the legacy of Michael. They know the legacy of Michael Jordan because of basically his shoe brand. He's just one of the known players around the globe, but I don't know how you can make LeBron be such an icon past MJ because he doesn't have that same allure or is that light that Michael Jordan had during that time period.
Think how technology's changed in the 20 plus years he's played. When he
Yeah,
came in the league, there was no smartphone. There
yeah,
was no streaming. There was no YouTube showing you every video of any player and their highlights.
yeah.
You had ESPN. Eh, Michael Jordan, his first few years, they didn't even show the NBA Finals on TV. It was on tape delay.
Yeah,
So unless somebody still owns a VHS tape and happen to record them, there's just not a lot of footage for the young kids to see Michael Jordan. Yeah, other
yeah.
than maybe what ESPN or some network put out there. But today, it's like you watch you can go watch, you can turn on ESPN app without even having ESPN and go look at the highlights of all the kids yesterday in summer league. So I
That
mean, the
fast.
technology has in the 20 plus years that LeBron's played in, it's like you know, so there's a plethora of video for kids to watch of him even long after he's quit playing.
Yeah, real talk. So LeBron back to Cleveland. Is that what your consensus is?
That's what I said a year ago. And I'm sticking by it.
Man, man, what a podcast, man. We got through it today. Talk Giannis, Lakers, Boston with Jalen Brown, Miami. We covered a lot of things today, man. I appreciate you coming on again, Boogie Bob, our 4th year. We are doing it. Swish for real, guys. Boogie, let the people know where they can find you at on these social media streets, man. So if they want to catch up with you.
You can go to Boogie Bob, or you can always go to Swish for Real. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. And guys, again, if you want to give us a shout out, man, let us know it's our year 4. We are pushing and going. Our subscribers are up over 500 now, so we're gonna see if we can push to 1,000. Appreciate you. You can always find me here on Swish for Real. You can catch me on Instagram, X, And YouTube if you want to see my films. We're almost done with my latest film. We're working on the next one, and then I just shot a commercial, so we'll have that out for you too. But guys, we appreciate you again. Boogie Bob, we are logging out, man. Peace. Have a good one, Boogie.
That's it, Pray.